property, and I'm not for me to rove across other people's areas, but on this issue I know, I can say very confidently that I was speaking for Keir, for Lisa Nandy, Stephen Kinnock, our Shadow Minister, for Emily Thornberry, our Shadow Trade Secretary. There are two things we have to do. One is to ensure that there is accountability and justice for historic human rights abuses and atrocities committed during the Sri Lankan Civil War. The second thing we have to do is challenge the ongoing human rights abuses in Sri Lanka which continue to this present day. And one of my reflections, having been elected as a Member of Parliament in 2015, it's great to see Stephen Timms, my colleague from East Ham, who's been engaged in Parliament on these issues longer than I have. It felt for a while like we were making progress. It felt for a while that the UN mechanism was working. It felt for a while that we were passing resolutions with clear accountability and responsibilities and obligations on the government of Sri Lanka that the government of Sri Lanka itself signed up to. But unfortunately, with the return of the Rajapaksas, we've seen a complete disregard for those international mechanisms, for those successive UN resolutions, and for the obligations, the commitments that Sri Lanka itself signed up to. And that has to come with consequences, because it's not only failing the people of Sri Lanka, it's not only failing the Tamil diaspora around the world who are seeking justice for their families, for their lost ones, for their loved ones. It also strikes at the heart of the rules-based international system which we have to uphold and defend if the United Nations is truly to mean something. So it's great to see you all here. It's so nice to be around so many familiar faces, and I'll be back in Geneva on one of those flights as soon as we can. I must say, the last time I was there was a slightly odd, kind of eerie experience, wasn't it? I was on an empty plane flying out thinking, was this really a wise thing to do? I was sat in empty halls in Geneva with diplomatic delegations from our country and other missions, wondering what on earth I was doing. You know, this sort of lunatic Brit from the British Parliament who'd flown over despite, the lockdown that was beginning to roll out across Europe. But, it was absolutely worth it, because we've shown that we can make a difference, we can make an impact, and our voices, British parliamentarians, your voices, British citizens, as part of the Tamil diaspora, can really make a difference. And we formed real bonds of friendship, not just between us, but with our friends in other countries, in other missions, our allies around the world. So, we've had our knocks, we've had our ups and downs, but there's still everything to play for, and we've got to put our shoulders to the wheel, not just in pursuing our Conservative government to do the right thing, not just in pursuing the United Nations to do the right thing, but we've got to put our shoulders to the wheel in terms of the Labour bit of Tamils for Labour, because what you've heard from Lisa Nandy this week, what you've heard from Emily Thornberry on the airwaves, is a real commitment to put human rights at the heart of British foreign policy and international relations and international trade. And I have no doubt that our campaign, our cause, our common endeavour would be much better served by Lisa Nandy in the Foreign Office, much better served by Emily Thornberry in the International Trade Department, and most importantly of all, much better served by Keir Starmer in 10 Downing Street. So let's work together, fight together, and win together for justice for the Tamil people, for peace and prosperity and human rights for all of the peoples of the island of Sri Lanka, and also to make sure that we've got a Labour government promoting democracy, freedom and human rights and social justice in this country and around the world. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm so sorry I couldn't say anything.